This is Gemara Nedarim Daf Chavtes, not Lamed. Daf Chavtes. Today's shir has been generously sponsored by a personal close friend and as well a close friend of the Daf. And the learning should bring an incredible schoshidoch for Michal Penina Basara and as well for Riva Risha Bas Devaira. Emir Hashem, the learning of the Daf, the incredible schos ha'tayra Talmuteri Kenegei Kulam of the entire Chabura should bring Yeshua, bring a Shira Chagoin Bekarov to Michal Penina Basara and Riva Risha Bas Devaira Bekarov Mamish. We're holding at the bottom of Chavches Amid Beis at the two dots. We quote the Mishnah that says, Ari Netiyos ha'elu carbon. The Mishnah taught us that if someone says that these netiyos, these saplings should be a carbon, they should be consecrated, they should be given to the Beis HaMikdash until they are cut down, until they fall. Said the Mishnah, and you can see right on the top of the Amud, actually you cannot, now you could, Ein lahem pedyon. They are not redeemed, literally. So yesterday we already learned in the beginning of the Gemara, why does the Mishnah use this interesting lashon of Pedion and not Pedion? Why doesn't it say Kedusha? And we said the Reisha was rein onto the Seifa. But now asks the Gemara on this last case of the Mishnah that said that if you say they're given to the Beis HaMikdash until they fall, Ein lahem Pedion, they're not redeemed. Asks the Gemara, Ule oilam? There it is. Ula'olam. And is this forever? Forever you cannot redeem this item. Why would that be the case? Explains the Gemara, Amar Rav Pada, Padan, Chayzeres v'Koiches. Padan, Chayzeres v'Koiches. You could try to redeem it. But the halacha is until this tree falls down, until it is felled, until it is cut down, it will always revert back to the Kedusha. So when the Mishnah said, Ein lahem pedyon, it didn't mean you can't try to redeem it. You could try. But until it's cut down, Ein lahem pedyon, meaning it's going to keep on reverting back. Ad, until what? Sheiksasu, until it is cut down. Once it is cut down, niksasu, then, poidon pam achas, once it cut down, no big deal. The tree is cut down, the condition has been met. Okay, now you're able to redeem it. So opinion number one of the Gemara, opinion number one of the Gemara, Amar Rav Pada, is that when the Mishnah said Ein lahem pedyon, that only meant until it is cut down, until it's falling. But once it falls, then you're able to redeem it. Ula Amar, Ula argues. Says Ula, Kivan sheniksasu, shov ein poidin. Ula says, once that tree falls down, ein poidin, you don't need to redeem it. Says Ula, what was the whole stipulation? The stipulation is it belongs to the Beis HaMikdash. It's a kainim, it's a carbon until it's niksasu. Once it's niksasu, you don't have to redeem it, and it's no longer in the property, in the possession of the Beis HaMikdash. And we turn over to Chavtes Amid Aleph. Let's get that up. There it is. There it almost is. One more time. There we go. Chavtes Amid Aleph. Omar le Rav Hamnuna, says Rav Hamnuna. 1 second, I don't understand something. You, Ula, just taught something earth-shattering, says Rav Hamnuna. You, Ula, you know what you just taught me? You just taught me that automatically, when this item falls, boom, no longer is there Kedusha. Omar le Rav Hamnuna, Kedusha sheben leichan holcha. Says Rav Hamnuna, I don't understand. Ula, you just pulled off magic. Where does the Kedusha go? You just told me that the moment it's falling, done, finished, you don't have to worry about it. Why? Where did the Kedusha go? And Rav Hamnuna doesn't just ask me svara. Rav Hamnuna asks, Uma ilu amar liisha, if someone were to have said to a woman, Hayoim at ishti, today you're my wife. We're married today, not tomorrow. Sounds pretty weird. Me, nafka b'loy get. Serve Hamnuna, givaldik. You want to marry a woman today? Beautiful. You want to get divorced tomorrow? No problem. But you have to get divorced. Says Rav Amnuna, if someone says to a woman, we're married today and not tomorrow, yet. Are you going to get divorced out again? Of course not. Why not? For the same reason why over here the item should not leave the base of Mikdash. Kedusha shaben le'echan olcha. It can't disappear on its own. Amarle Rava. Rava comes to Ula's defense. Amarle Rava on the fourth line. Mikam edamis kedushas damim. Le kedushas hagof. Says Rava, 1 second. Rav Amnuna, you're jumping too fast. Are you comparing the case of the netiyos, the case of the saplings, which is kedushas damim? It's a monetary sanctity. Le kedushas hagof to something with physical sanctity? How can you tell me that? Kedushas damim paka bechdi. Kedushas damim disappears on its own. If something is intrinsic, the body itself has kedusha, a person is married, then I agree. But you're going to tell me the case of the netiyos, in the case of the saplings, that could be paka bechdi. So says Rava to Rav Amnuna, what's your raya? You're busy bothered. Kedusha b'yanechan olcha. Where's the kedusha going? Says Rava, what's the big deal? You're going to ask for the case of marriage? That's a different case. Answers the Gemara, Amar le Abaya. So Abaya retorts, and I'm sorry, the page just shrunk, and there it is. Amar le Abaya. So Abaya retorts back, Rava is getting a little bit heated over here. So Abaya retorts back, Amar le Abaya gets involved, and he says, Kedushas agof, loipaka bechdi. Says Abaya, 1 second. Are you telling me that Kedushas agof cannot leave on its own? Why? Excuse me, I apologize that the page keeps on shrinking on its own. Speaking of things happening on their own, says, there it is, that's a little bit better. Says Abaya, it's not really a little better, it's a little bit small. Let's get this up and running. Says Abaya, are you going to tell me that you're bothered that Kedushas hagof lo ipaka bechdi? Says Abaya, why not? V'atanya, we learned in a brayso, sharzah lekol amidyayim. So it says, this ox for 30 days, it's an ayla. And then after 30 days, it's a shlamim. What's the halacha? Kol lamid yoim ayla. 5 lines on the bottom of Chavtesam and Aleph. For 30 days, it's an ayla. And then it's a shlamim automatically. Says Abaya, according to you, Rava, my. Kedusha govnenu upaka bichdi. Says Abaya, I don't understand. This is a case where the animal has intrinsic kedusha. It's a carbon in itself has kedusha zagov. And yet we see it is changing from a shlamim to an oil all on its own. Answers the Gemara for Rava, Acha b'mayaskinan, the Amar lidmi. That brisa, the brisa discussing shlamim, turning into an oila, etc., is talking about a case where he did not just say this animal should be an oila, this animal should be a shlamim. It's talking about a case in which he said, lidmi, the value, the monetary essence of this item should be a shlamim or an oila. It says the Gemara, essentially, in a vacuum, isolate, this is a good teretz. But says the Gemara, if we go into that brayso a bit deeper, we run into a problem. Ihachi asks the Gemara, in Seifa, it says in the Seifa, Lachar lamid yoim oila, umeachshav shlamim. Says in the Seifa of that brayso, what is the story if someone says, after 30 days I want it to be an oila, and right now I want it to be a shlamim? If you're going to tell me the first case in which he said it should be a shlamim today for 30 days, an oila for 30 days, a shlamim for 30 days, that's talking about a case where it's intrinsically kadosh, and then it talks about a case where he says me'achshav shlamim and then lamid yoim afterwards, and that's talking about kedushas damim. Then it makes a lot of sense. That's why the Mishnah would have to write 2 different cases. Again, the fact that the brisa gave us a second case is a key as to figuring out what the brisa is referring to. So from the fact that in the seif of this brisa, it's teaching me a case. What is the case that it's teaching me? It's teaching me a case which clearly is Kedushas Adamim, asks the Gemara. So the reisha of this brisa clearly should be talking about Kedushas Haguf. So you, that's why the Tana on the top of Chotes Amid Beis had to teach me two different cases. Why? The Gemara spells it out. Because one would have thought like our Havamina. One would have thought that Kedusha Agov can disappear on its own, whereas Kedusha's Damim could disappear on the Baka Bechdi. Amatulachi, because of this, Tanatarti, we said both cases. So, but that only makes sense if you explain the Reisha, our case of Lamidi and Shlavim, Yamad Ayla, 30 days Shlavim, 30 days Ayla, if that is referring to Kedushas Haguf. But like you wanted to just interpret that case is talking about Kedushas Damim. Elai, Amr Divide Kedushas Damim. 5 lines down, Chavtas Amid Beis. Lama li lemisni tarti. Why would the Brisa have to say 2 cases? Anticipates the Gemara. Once we know that when you're going from a higher level of Kedusha to a lower level of Kedusha, when you're going from an Oyla to a Shlamim, it disappears on its own. Mekedusha Kala lekedusha Chamura. In the vice versa case, when you're going back from a Shlamim to an Oyla, Sricha lemeimar, there would be no reason to say it. So proves the Gemara that your teretz was wrong. You just wanted to answer that the first case is not talking about Kedushas Haguf, rather it's talking about Kedushas Damim. Proves the Gemara that can't be the case, because if that case is talking about Kedushas Damim, then there's no reason to teach the Mishnah to have 2 cases. Says the Gemara, this is indeed a proof that Rava is incorrect, and the Gemara leaves it off. That Rava, who says that Kedushas Haguf cannot leave on its own, is wrong. Rather, we have a clear raya that Kedushas Haguf could, yes, disappear onto its own, and the Gemara leaves it as a kash on Rava. Yes, this is another one of the examples of Nedarim, the wording being a little interesting, because the Gemara doesn't say tiyufta, the Gemara doesn't say kasha, the Gemara just leaves it, and the Gemara moves on. So what do we see now? We see that the Brisa is talking about Kedushas Haguf and Kedushas Hadamim. Says the Gemara, Lema Tavitiyofta Lebar Pada. So let's say this is a Kasha Bar Pada. Tamar, what does Bar Pada say? Tamar, Loi Paka Kedusha Bichdi. But Bar Pada was of the opinion that said, again, we had 2 Terutzim, we had Ula and Bar Pada. What do we see? Bar Pada is clearly of the opinion that it cannot disappear on its own. But from the fact that the 2 segments of the Brisa, the 2 parts of the Brisa, case A and case B, the Reish and the Seifa, Lamed Yoim, Me'achshav and then Lamed Yoim, are clearly, we see the opposite. We see that Kedusha, yes, disappears on its own. So, Amar Papa, to this the Gemara has a teretz. Amlecha Bar Pada, you know Bar Pada will respond, Hachi Kamra. This is how you have to learn the Brisa. Im loy Amar Me'achshav Shlamim, if he did not say from now it is a shlamim, then it would be an oila, meaning the only reason it's not an oila after 30 days is because it's a shlamim today. So the shlamim today prevents it from being an oila in 30 days. How do we see this? Similar to that which we know. The Mishnah Kedushin, if someone says to a woman, someone says, I'm going to marry you after 30 days, it works. Mikudash. So if someone would have said after 30 days it should be an oila, in a vacuum that would work. The only issue was that he said shlamim first. As we see over there, if someone says, I'm marrying you after 30 days, it works. Even if the money is no longer around when day 30 comes, still, the case of Kedushin is that it works. So answers Rav Papa for Bar Pada, this is how we're going to have to learn the Brisa. The Gemara says it's such a beautiful teretz, pshita, now it's obvious. Answers the Gemara, you know what the Chiddush is? You would have thought that what would happen, now you would have thought. The Chiddush is when he was chayzer. He was chayzer, that which he originally said it's going to be an Ayla. So you would think his Chazara works. Chiddush of the Brisa is that it's not. Says the Gemara, Gevaldik, ich leman damin chazeres. 7 lines to the bottom. If you hold ein chazeres, then I agree with you. El leman damer, there's man damer that says that chazeres. Excuse me, if you say ein chazeres, I understand. But if you say chazeres, Michael Ameimar, answers the Gemara, fil man damer hasam chazeres hacha shiny. Even if normally it could be chayzer, but the case over here is different. Why? The famous rule, damirasay ligavaya kimsi rasay lehedyet. Because this is talking about a carbon, and carbonos are different. Why are carbonos different? Because amirasay ligavaya is kimsirasay lahedit. That when you give over something to the Beis Hamikdash, it's as if it's already given over physically to a friend. That's the reason why you will not be able to be chayzer. We'll pick it up from Rav Avin in the next year. B'siyata Dishmaya.